Watchtower's game has been suspect for a minute, and all the more so since the JW broadcasting era began. I don't think they realize that their videos are becoming worse and worse, and may actually start waking more people up to the suspicious nature of their organization. In fact, it was their own teaching materials that helped me become a non-believer. If their 2015 through 2018 videos were bad enough to destroy my faith in them, I sometimes wonder how the old me would react to the outrageous videos they're producing now. There are lots of examples of faulty reasoning and gaslighting in JW videos, for which I could make rebuttals, but many of them are overwhelmingly triggering, so I like to direct my blows so as not to strike the air. I wait for the right video or article, and today I'm going to take a look at a relatively brief video from the wretched 2021 Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses. But I think this video really exemplifies the insanity of Watchtower teachings and their increasing desperation to hold on to the minds of their members these days. So, without further ado.
I never thought it would happen. I finally found what I'd been searching for. A good relationship with God. Then one day, a coworker texted an article that claimed to expose Jehovah's Witnesses. I was tempted to read it. And then I thought back to when I first met Jehovah's Witnesses. I was so excited about what they taught me from the Bible. That God's name is Jehovah, the kingdom is a real government, and so much more. Why would I want to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses from their enemies? But my friends, not so much. I saw people who really love one another. It's a real brotherhood. But it wasn't just the people. This was the truth. I didn't need to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses from their enemies. I had seen for myself that they worshiped the true God, Jehovah.
So basically they're saying that if someone comes to your door and is very polite and friendly and tells you things that are appealing or seem to make sense, then you should trust them. And not only should you trust them, but if your friends or family attempt to share deeply concerning information about the organization they represent, then you should refuse to even find out what the information is. Personally, that sounds like the start of every cult indoctrination ever, and the start of many abusive relationships in general for that matter. Must be a coincidence. Based on this video, apparently you can only learn about a person or an organization from that person or organization. So if they've been accused or convicted of crimes, then you have to trust them to reveal all those details to you themselves. And even if they're a con artist, I suppose they'll just let you know up front that you're being conned. Because only that person has the right to say they're a con artist, not former victims of their cons, not concerned relatives, not legal authorities. It would be wrong to even hear anything negative said about your new friends or their organization, let alone actually investigate the accusations. Why? Because they seem to be warm, loving, and friendly in all their dealings with you so far. And that's all you need to know, right? Surely this could never be a problematic approach to major life decisions and relationships. By the way, that Ted Bundy fella, he sure was nice and charming. If he says he didn't hurt those girls, then he must be telling the truth, right? The Watchtower Society says that anyone who critiques them is an enemy. Imagine if publishers took that attitude with elders. They'd be marked, reproved, or disfellowshipped. Now, I do realize that before you fully accept information from a critic, you may want to check whether they have any bias or conflict of interest. But that doesn't mean that their claims should not even be heard, just because the critic has been deemed an enemy by the subject of their criticism. If you criticized the fascist government of Germany back in the mid-1930s through the mid-1940s, would they have considered you an enemy? And if you proselytize for Christianity in a Muslim nation, is it possible you might be considered an enemy? Consider this. What could the number of enemies, the types of enemies, or the claims of enemies reveal about a person or an organization? If they're repeatedly accused of the same sort of crime by hundreds of different people, wouldn't you like to at least be aware of those accusations, even if no convictions ever stuck? Imagine if every organization employed Watchtower's reasoning. If a politician has good campaign promises and appealing political ads, never mind their record, never mind any lawsuits or accusations against them, it would be disloyal to the political party to hold your candidate to the same level of scrutiny you would an opponent. Oh, wait, people actually do that. Bad example. The point is, just because someone initially appeals to you does not mean that you could never ever consider a different opinion or claim. Even Scientologists are going to come at you with a pitch that sounds appealing on the surface. No cult ever leads with promising to ruin your life, take all your money, and estrange you from your family and friends. They're also unlikely to lure you in with transparently blatant lies. No, they're going to say something that seems reasonable, or at the very least appeals to you, so that you'll want to believe. But, for the sake of argument, let's give Jehovah's Witnesses the benefit of the doubt and say that their doctrine is 100% true and faithful to what the Bible teaches. Now, does that necessarily mean that they don't have a problem with covering up child sexual abuse in their organization in an attempt to avoid bad publicity? Do a few pieces of accurate information from the Bible or displays of friendliness mean that they're not part of a mentally and emotionally abusive, high-control group, one that exploits true believers, crushes dreams, and squanders potential? And just because they read a scripture to you, and you agree with their explanation of that scripture, does that automatically mean that you should entrust all your time, resources, and even your very life to their organization? And all this without ever being allowed to hear what outsiders or former members have to say about it. The character depicted in this video is not even one of Jehovah's Witnesses yet. He's already expected to subject himself to their information control. By this logic, you should never read reviews for a product before buying it. You can learn everything you need to know about the product from the manufacturer. If they say the product is good and that you need to buy it, then you better go ahead and buy it without doing any outside research. And why even bother looking at similar products from competitors? They're biased. So there's no need to investigate whether their product is actually superior. No need to weigh their claims against the other company's claims. Whoever comes to you first, or whoever comes with the most polished sales pitch, is the only one you should ever even consider buying from. Don't ever reevaluate your options as new information becomes available. After all, it would be disloyal to expect the truth to hold up under scrutiny. This is the faulty reasoning being promoted by Watchtower, and sadly, they've convinced millions of their followers to believe that this makes sense. What's worse is that a growing number of people in the world are unwilling to question their beliefs or hear the opinions of the other side. So what do you think? Is it reasonable to refuse to hear any sort of criticism against an organization you're a member of? If so, then why, or under which circumstances? And are the claims of Jehovah's Witnesses so obviously true that it would just be a waste of time to hear any other views? If so, then why would their teachings ever need to be changed? Why would their understanding of Scripture ever need to be adjusted if the truth was so clear and obvious in the first place? And is saying the light gets brighter actually a reason, or is it just a catchphrase that lacks any real substance and fails to explain the issues being raised? And even if after time and consideration you found that Watchtower's teachings are clear and unquestionably true, is the organization itself incapable of going astray because it has God's backing? If so, then why does the Bible depict Israel and countless generations of Jehovah's people as consistently going astray at some point? Would they have considered prophets who criticized the religious leaders as being apostates back then? When Jesus criticized religious leaders among Jehovah's people in his day, did they execute him under the label of an exemplary Jew or as a blasphemer? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section. And if you enjoyed something in this video, then please tap the thumbs up button to let me know. Thanks for watching.